So it's been a little while that we've known about the one-of-one ring coming out in the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth Magic set, which releases on June 23rd, and a lot of people have made videos about it already, and I honestly was holding off on it because I just thought it's sort of like going to be a topic you're seeing everywhere, and there's other things to talk about, but there are new developments in this story, and now I need to cover them. So, let's jump into the video. Alright, thank you guys so much for checking out the video. If you do enjoy the content and conversation here, please hit the like button and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of today's video and what other topics you might want to see covered. And of course, you can click that little bell icon if you want to be notified when new videos are uploaded. So today, yes, we are talking about the one-of-one ring. Now, true disclaimer, I've said this before, but I'll cover it again. I am not a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I don't dislike it. I definitely enjoyed what I saw of the movies to an extent. But I haven't seen all of them. I'm not fully caught up. I'm just treating this basically as I would any other Magic set. And let's not, lose sight of the fact that there are some really, really good cards coming into the game, into the format in this set. So that aside, I'm just basing this on the perspective of looking at it from someone who plays Magic, who collects Magic. I am not against serialized cards. Let me just say that first. I know there are some people who are very much against it. They think it's like a lottery system, and it definitely is. But let's sort of say that, no matter what they do, there's always going to be those chase cards in trading card game products. That's just the nature of the game. It's a lottery without being called a lottery, and they skirt around that by basically printing everything at a distributable ratio, whatever. I won't get into the logistics of it, but when you started seeing serialized cards come out more commonly in the Brothers' War with the retro artifacts and stuff, we had one Viscera Seer earlier, which had, I think, a 300 count print run. Now you're seeing they're sort of splashing some serialized numbered stuff into, Secret Lair Showdown promos at conventions and whatnot, but just, talking about the booster packs, you had, serialized cards in Brothers' War, people were excited for them. March of the Machine also has a lot of serialized cards, including the, exclusive artwork Praetors, which is, they look really nice, but there's only 500 of each, and the values on some of these have gone through the roof. But the good thing about the serialized cards is that when they are existent, people who, whales who are going to spend a lot of money, just kind of throw their money at the table, trying to crack and chase after these high-end cards, it's opening a lot of product on the market, meaning that there is more accessible versions of all the other cards in the set for everyone. I talked about it in the box topper video, how there were going to be a lot of really good reprints, and we have a video coming up later this week talking about reprints as a whole, because there was some unexpected feedback to that video that I want to kind of tackle in its own topic. But basically, the more product is open, the more the market is, kind of flooded with cards that are not the big ones people are chasing after, and for your regular player, it makes things a lot more accessible. They've never printed a serialized card that is exclusively serialized, meaning you can get cheaper versions of these things, and for me, that's all that really matters. Let the whales have their thing, let the prices drive down of everything else, and there you go. But this one is a little bit different. The one-of-one ring, which is only going to be accessible in collector boosters that are in the English language, so none of the foreign language collector boosters. March of the Machine had serialized cards in some of those foreign language boosters, but they were all in English. This is exclusively in English boosters, and there is only one. Obviously, it's playing very much into the thematic elements of Lord of the Rings, which, side note, I think they did a really good job with the set as a whole, kind of staying true to that lore and working the lore into the cards, just based on some of the reviews that I've read and some of the things that people have stated. So that's good. Obviously, I have no problem with Universes Beyond. I think it's good to get more exposure for the game. I know there's some people who just hate it. I don't fully understand why. And again, maybe another deep dive for another video. But it doesn't take a genius to know that the one-of-one ring is obviously going to be ludicrously expensive and probably the most expensive Magic the Gathering card ever printed. Now, you could go back and look at cards like Black Lotus from Alpha or Beta or some of the other cards from that sort of level of scarcity and see how expensive they have been. We've seen PSA 10 Black Lotuses go for 6 figures. I honestly think this one's going to be significantly higher than all of those. And I don't know whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, because obviously, the collectible aspect of it is cool, but this is a new card that is just being printed, and the only reason it has value is because they've only made one, and we're willing to throw the money at it. It's very, very scarce, and it obviously is going to cause people to be ripping open these collector boosters like crazy. So, what am I going in circles trying to get to? Well, we've seen, like, the highest one I've seen more recently of the serialized number cards was the #1 Ragavan, which I think was pulled by Star City Games and was actually sold for over $6,000. So that was a Ragavan that had 500 copies, you know, and when you look at it and as a comparison point, you can say, okay, well, we know this is going to be more than 6,000, obviously. And there were a lot of people who were thinking early on this could end up being six figures. As a matter of fact, there were people who put out a price offer, so, and obviously there's no way to like fully verify the validity of those offers, you know, until the time were to actually come that somebody had it in hand, but people were offering upwards of $100,000, and then someone offered $250,000, so you're like, wow, okay, people are going wild on this, and there were conditions, you know, you can't tell anyone you've pulled it until you've done, you know, done the deal with us, I'll buy it, whatever, likely because what that will do is it will cause collector booster boxes to be high. I think at some point, if the 1/1 ring is pulled, the demand for collector boosters may be a bit less. But I don't think it's going to be as less as people think, because there are still serialized soul rings, there are still tons of good box toppers, and just in general, it's going to be a set that people are going after. But let's be honest. If people pull the one ring, for some individuals, the chase of opening all these collector boosters is definitely going to go down. And that's where you get a bit of a predicament. Now let's talk about the bounties, because there are some wild things going on here. Dave and Adam's Card World, a very well-known site. I think they're a larger wholesaler. I know they sell all kinds of different trading card products and stuff. They put out a post, an actual press post last week, with a $1 million bounty for the one ring. Basically saying that if you pull it and they can verify it, they will purchase it for that amount. Obviously, there are some things that would need to be done in that process. We've already seen people starting to replicate and make fake copies of these cards, so there would likely be some kind of validation process. I don't know whether or not that would be done with Wizards, where you'd have someone at Wizards verify that it is the real card, or you'd have to have a video of you pulling it, or whatever. That obviously is a whole other thing, but assuming it's legitimate, $1 million for the 1/1 ring. That is a crazy offer, and it's a buzzword number that people are going to hear and be like, oh god, I gotta go out and buy these boxes. Today could be the day I hit this and I win the lottery. That's literally what that would be, essentially. I'm pulling this 1/1 card. But I mean, when you think about how many collector boosters are out there, and you look at the statistics for like what are the odds? The odds are like, I believe it's like less than 0.000003%. The likelihood of you pulling the one ring is just almost equally as likely as like they're like you finding like a real one ring and throwing it into a volcano. Like, I don't know, it's almost never gonna happen for all of us, with the exception of one person. Now, there are some skeptics who think that like Wizards is gonna make sure that it goes into the hands of like a big content creator, or it'll magically be pulled here, because like people believe that they know where the ring is, like know what box or case it's in. I don't know. We did see a video of them showing it off. It's really hard to say, because truth be told, I genuinely don't know what Wizards' kind of process is on this, but $1 million for this, and that number is a huge buzzword. Obviously, it's getting people going crazy for it, and I was like, that's high, but, you know, I guess they really want to get their hands on it. They had said initially that the bounty would expire in July, and then I believe I saw an update post on Reddit saying that there basically wouldn't be an expiration, that they were going to keep this open longer. So, you know, obviously, we have no idea when the ring's going to surface, if the ring's going to surface. It could end up sitting in a warehouse forever, and there's really no way to know exactly when it's going to come in handy. But I'm telling you right now, you person listening to this, you're not going to pull it. I'm not going to pull it. I'm going to try, because I'm going to open a couple things for the channel, like, just for fun, but I'm not expecting to pull it. I'm really hoping to get some other stuff that's, you know, just good value things. And don't get me wrong, the set is good. I mean, there's, you know, so many cool cards that you can pull, but it's just ludicrous to think that anyone is going to have a realistic chance of pulling this. Don't go into this with that mindset, obviously, is what I'm saying. But then, this morning, I woke up, I was looking at some stuff for a video. I had a very different video planned, and I saw that I believe this is a Spanish premium store, I think. I think it's in Spain. I'm not 100% sure on the exact location of where it is, so I apologize if I'm wrong on that. I can't, obviously I'm not super well versed in the language, I can't read the translation all that well, but what I do know is that this ends up being roughly $2.1 million. That is what the bounty is that has been put out by this shop. So they have not only doubled the bounty that was previously out by Dave and Adam's Card World, they have more than doubled it, and now we're getting into some absolutely insane territory, because how far does this go? If the bounty is 2.1 million, like, is someone going to beat it? Do you have celebrities like Post Malone, who's well known into Magic, and even guys like Cassius Marsh, former Seahawks player? You've got guys like Stephen Colbert, who's a well-known Lord of the Rings fan. Perhaps he might be interested in owning this. You know, when you really start to think about people with big pockets and big money, there's a lot to kind of unpack here, and this number has essentially gone just completely ludicrous for a card that was just printed. Like, we don't know when, if this is ever going to get seen, but I'm a little bit surprised that this number has gotten this high, and it makes me wonder, like, how much higher will it get? If time continues to pass and no one pulls it, will the bounty go up? Is someone going to pull it and no one's going to know? Is it going to end up in a landfill? Like, I have no idea, but $2 million for this bounty is completely and utterly insane. And if you guys, I want to know what you guys think in the comments section down below. Let me know. Do you expect this is going to be like the peak? Do you think it's going to go higher? If you do, how much higher do you think it's going to go? I'm interested to hear people's thoughts on that. Now, the couple of things I want to note, you know, just so people are aware, the One Ring is not exclusively in that, as I said earlier. It's a good card, and I do think, especially in EDH and maybe even in Modern, depending on how well the One Ring, you know, ring tempting you mechanic takes off and all sorts of that type of thing, maybe it'll start to see some play there as well. But it's not super expensive. It's pre-selling, you know, I think it's pre-selling around like 30 to 35 bucks, I think, and the prices will fluctuate as the set actually comes out. So you could certainly get your hands on a One Ring just by cracking some packs. And honestly speaking, the bundle that'll be coming out, which is, you know, usually a hit or miss product, because like the spin downs are cool, but you're paying $5-6 per set booster, and if the promos aren't any good, this bundle is a little bit unique because it's guaranteed 4 promos. So you get the Frodo and the Samwise, and then you also get a Gollum, and then you get a One Ring special art that only comes in the bundle, and that is actually really cool because like it's Gollum, you know, kind of reaching for the ring. This card is going to be accessible. If you just want a One Ring, you'll have the option of the bundle version, the regular version, the extended art version. Like, I do think there will be some, you know, variants of this that have popularity among people, and we could see, you know, I depending on how fast the bundle sells out, perhaps the promo version will end up being a little bit more pricey, but the card itself is not what people are chasing after. It's that exclusivity, it's that one of one, it's the you know, being the only person in the world to have it. And when you start getting into like deeper pockets and people who just have money to throw away, we're really looking at some absolutely insane numbers here. And $2 million for a trading card that was printed probably a couple months ago, like that they could easily just go print something else. You know, I just wonder what kind of precedent it sets and whether or not we're going to see more of this in the future. And like I said, I'm not opposed to the serialized cards, especially when there's, you know, a good portion of them. I think March of the Machine had over 30,000 total, you know, multiple cards, 500 runs of each, but it was widespread. There was a lot. This is a one of one, and this is definitely going to be something that will completely reshape Magic in terms of like notoriety and press. And when this sells, I mean, will it be the biggest sale ever? And maybe there's like a Charizard or an old card of that nature that was like a, you know, special one of one illustrator type thing. I don't know, but even then this could smash those prices. So I'm really interested to see what happens, but this is getting way out of hand, and it's kind of crazy to see what is going on with this. So yeah, just my thoughts on this. Kind of wanted to update everybody that maybe hasn't been following, is kind of curious. Again, I will say, like, if you want to open the set, it seems good. It could be fun. Don't chase this set just trying to pull the One Ring, because it's just a really, really bad mentality to have going into it. I guess unless you just have countless amounts of money to throw away. But even then, you know, keep the expectation realistic that maybe you'll hit an Elven Soul Ring or a Dwarven Soul Ring with the serialized numbers. But I would not go after this with the expectation that you're going to strike gold with this one. So that'll do it for me in this one, guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.